couple of days ago, I just uploaded a video of a small Blender setup I did, and it just exploded, views. People liking it, they're sharing it everywhere. So yeah, I decided to, let's do a small tutorial on it. Maybe gonna be just a start. I like to geometry nodes and like the VFX in general. So yeah, let's learn together. Let's share our knowledge together. And yeah, let me know if you need to know anything specific. Yeah, be happy to share. This was like an opener I did for African Cup for Al Jazeera, and like the setup is really simple and nice. So the basic idea, you have like this small shapes, and you have like small controllers on it, like which can change the point count, scales, the bevel. See, like I'm changing how the star look right now. I'm changing the strength of it. It's a little bit slow because there's like some boolean having in the background, but like we're gonna cover all this up. You can change like the curvature. And here another example I did with it. So you can see it's really nice to do like Islamic patterns with it. You can do like mandala shapes, like this repetitive circular patterns. So yeah, let's start from scratch and have an empty geometry node. And what we need to do right now is to build the building block for our mandala effects or Islamic patterns, which usually like a circular shape with like a pointy arms for it. So they're gonna be our building block curve. We're gonna build everything from it. So let's start with a curve circle. Yep. And then we need to resample it so we can change the number of points it have all the time. So resample curve. So now we can change how many points it have. So now this is where the magic happened, because there is like a function called modulus, and people use it a lot in Houdini, Blender, and it's a simple node, but you can do pretty crazy stuff with it. So yeah, but I have like a simple setup here to show you exactly what it does. So this setup just show you the number, like index of each point. And see, the more points we have, the more numbers we have. And they always start from 0. The index starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So what this modulus do is basically it tells us, now take the numbers we're having and like make some sort of loop. So if I give you like number of 2, which what we're gonna use is gonna go from 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. If we give it 2, it's going to go 0, 1, 2, and let's see. So see, it goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, because I give it 4. So I'm gonna count 4 numbers. But now if I give it 2, it's gonna go from 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. And that's gonna be the mask we're gonna use to like control some specific points. Okay, so let's forget about that and get back to our circle. And yeah, we're gonna get the index of each point and then use math node. Just control A, math node, and we connect it here and we choose the modulus. Okay, we have those two. This one gonna be okay, gonna do the job. Okay, and then we're gonna just need a transform node. Transform geometry. No. We're going to need just the position of each node, and then we use a vector map. Oh, whoopsie. Okay, vector. I have a quick select here. Yep. Okay. So we take each position and we scale it up. I'm just gonna need the scale And then we use set position to just manipulate the points. And if we put it in the offset, now we can just change the scale of all the points. But if we use our mask now in the scale, just we use 2, see? Now it just scale up some the points we selected, which is pretty cool. And what we're gonna need also math multiply, so we can manipulate the scale of these points. Okay, and there's like some bug you see, like whenever the number is not even, we have like a broken point here. So a simple quick fix, just to have another math node, and we won't multiply whatever the number we put in the count by 2, and we will make our first controller that control the number of points. So each time, we also need it to be an integer, so we have no decimals. So now we get an integer, and now whatever, it's not working yet. We need it to be multiply, and now the more you add, it will just keep adding 2 each time, so you will never have like this, like broken point or whatever. Okay. So yeah, we also need the strings we did here, so we can always control like the strings of those points each time. Yeah, that's so now we have like the star I used in the original example, but you can go crazy, you know? You can do as much as you want. Okay, now we have like our star shape, but the next thing for us is like we should try to have like some control over the curvature. So we have like more options, you know, because usually like in Islamic patterns, mandalas, they have like some patterns where that they are straight, and it's great we have it here, but some of them are a bit curved. So let's try to do that. What do you think? Okay, so to first we need to set line type to Bezier. And Bezier is basically always gonna try to make it a little bit curved. But for that to happen, we need to change the handles of the Bezier. So let's have set handle. Let's set handle type and see now, like it's curved, but like the problem is it's doing it for all the points, and that's not what we need. We need just to change the handle type for our mask points, let's call them that. Okay, so what we're gonna do is set handle position. Yep, and for the left and for the right. Okay, and so now if we change the offset, you know, we're having something is happening. Okay, but we need to do this as we said for our mask points. So we can take that from here. We already have it. Let's get a little bit tidy here. We put that in the selection, and now if we change, we'll just change the mask point. But we'll do something very similar to what we did with the position, and we'll take the position and scale it up for both left. Let's change this to the right handle and take this to the offset. And now, if you are smart about like the value you put, you're gonna get some cool curves. And if you go really crazy, see, you can get some cool patterns like that we can use like some other time. Yeah, see, like sometimes it does like this interesting shapes, that you can boolean later and like make some cool pattern inside that looks really complex. And it's just like this three values you're changing. So yeah, beauty of geometry nodes. Okay, let's change that back to 1, back to 0, and that have a group input, and we will make another value for the curvature. So again, let's rename this point count. We change this to ring, and let's call this curvature. Okay, so just a little fix I realized right now. There was something wrong with the curvature. See this pointy thing? Yeah, I was like, this is not familiar, you know. But I realized I just put like the wrong value. We should have taken this modulus and multiply instead of the point count. So now if we put it in the selection, oh my god, there's too many nodes right now. Okay, if we take like this mask we did, you will find like now the curves are much better. It goes in a way that is much more Islamic patterny. I don't know. Yeah, so I made like some quick pattern using the node we did. I did also some arranging, so everything's clean. I put the mask in a store attribute like point mask, so it's easier to recall. See, now it's like much more clean. But basically, it's the same thing. You know, you can change point count, you change the scale, and you can change the curvature. And I did like a switch node in case you want to break it on purpose. You can break it, or you want even numbers, you can put even numbers. But yeah, so I did like this quick thingy, and yeah, we can now go to step 2. And okay, now it's step 2. We need to just do like some outlines, gold outlines for our shapes. And so I just like throw on some plain or just some box with a simple blue material on it, and just throw some simple light, like 2-point lights, one spotlight with a gobo on it. And yeah, for the material I used some like this cool pattern my friend Berez gave me. He's a really cool artist, and he gave me like this sport-like pattern for which work. It looks like sporty and same time a little bit Islamic. So yeah, it worked nice. So yeah, let's do our second geometry node setup. So we're having our shapes, our curves, and then it's a basic cube, and go to geometry node, add a new one, call it outline. Outline. Yeah, so what we need to do first of all is just take our curves. I have it all in like one folder. Yep, we put it here. We can now close the curve, and we have it all in one geometry node setup. And yeah, separate children, reset children, relative, which is very important. So it will always take the real size of our curve. So later on, we can just change our curve folder and everything change. No, actually, we don't want to reset. Yeah. So first thing we need to do is to change curve to mesh. Yep. And we can use like a circle just to view how things are to the curve profile. And now we have like this scale we can change, and as you see, we change our curves to a mesh. Yeah, pretty cool. Now we want to set material. And let's make a quick material here. Let's call it gold. Yeah, have it like a goldish color. And roughness 0, metallicness like, yeah, full. And now we have something that looks like gold. Yeah, we can just crank up the roughness a little bit. And we're done. We're done really. So something something I like to do is like just to put like the controllers here for our collection and our scale. And instead of this circular lame shape, I did like a curve profile, like a custom one, which is basically like this half circle triangular shape, which is like you just can make like a curved circle and just manipulate it. And if we take this profile, you'll see gonna give it a much better look. Yeah, so now what I like to do is just like duplicate this, like, yeah, let's have everything back. Just have here this this geometry node setup, and I want to make some variation with with the thickness of our shapes. So let's first of all just choose some of our curves, call this thick curves, a new collection here, and the rest we can call them not so thick curves. Yeah. Okay, so now instead of using all the curves, we can choose a different collection. We can use with the thick curves, and then we have another one, duplicate our geometry node, and then use node. Yep, and now we're having like different controls for each one. Yeah, one can be a little bit thicker. The other one can be, yeah, thin. Okay, yeah, so something else I would like to do is to make our like curves go a little bit thinner when they go to our pointer shapes, but the rest like stay like its original thickness. So how can we do that? So remember in our pattern units, let me call them this. Go to the geometry node. We have like this mask we did with the index and the modulus, but I saved them for something called point mask. Or maybe you can just duplicate it and do it again, index, modulus, and but like to I like things to be procedural, you know. So let's keep it like that. And if I take named attributes and point mask, we can then try to put it in the scale and map range it. And if we change the maximum value, see, we can now control the edges of it. And for the minimum value, we can have like a totally different one. Of course, we can also put this like called maximum scale, minimum scale, and we have like a controller for each one. Call it this one, the min scale, and this one, max. Yep. And we're done. We're having some cool outlines, and we have a control over, like we have various thickness for each one. So let's change this for one, see? And now we're having like cool variation for each one. So now for our last step, which I want to make like some booleans between all the shapes so I can control the negative value between them. So we can like make smaller patterns, different materials. And what we need to do is choose two curves to try to get the Boolean shapes between them. So we have more control over these negative shapes. So first I'm gonna choose C4, which is this curve, and C5. Okay, so we're having a default cube with a empty geometry node. And yeah, we'll import C2. Actually, no, we're gonna take C4 and C5. Okay, so choose C4 and C5. Yeah, relative. Yeah, let's see what this geometry node looks like right now. And yeah, first of all, we need to fill this shape. And we can do this by using a fill curve node. Yeah, now we're having this shape filled. And we do the same for the second one, which is C5. Yep. And now we're having like this two shapes, but what we need to do is to boolean those shapes together. So we're having a mesh boolean. Yep, and we put our first curve here, our second curve here, and nothing really is happening right now. And that's because the second curve doesn't have any thickness to it. So what we can do is just to extrude the mesh, not just view the second curve first. As you see, it's extruded, but it have no bottom for it. And also it's extruding all the faces together. So what we need to do is to just uncheck individual faces. Now it's extruding the whole shape. And we need to join the fill curve with the extruded shape. And now we're having like a shape. Yeah, extruded shape. And now we can take our extruded shape to mesh 2, take our second shape for mesh 1, and okay, doesn't sound right. Okay, let's try to, um, what should we do right now? Difference. Okay, we can try like changing the scale between those, because sometimes they're not really intersecting right. Okay. Are we doing the right shapes? Not sure. Let's try to swap those shapes. See what happened. Oh, okay. Yeah, so we needed to boolean the small shape from the bigger shape. So arrangement matters at this point. Yeah, so now what we have is the negative space. Okay, so what if we want to change the scale of this pattern so we have like even more control over those negative spaces? Okay, take this one here. Yeah. Okay, for now we can use scale elements so we can change each one individually. So by changing the scale, everything is changing. But why? Okay, simple fix. We need to make sure the shapes are overlapping right. Otherwise, we're gonna have like one full shape, as you see. And that's not what we want. So now if I just change the scale a little bit, make sure they're overlapping. Let's pin this. And yeah, we'll see. Scale. Now they're scaling right. But what if we want to change, like make it come up out of the corner here? So we only need to change, I think, the center, or we can just like scale everything. If we do like a transform geometry, now we're having like this control for how far the shape is, and we can also have this control for individual scales. So it's like being a matter of just changing those two values. We want to try with you like something else. We can take the position and scale it. Same we did for most effects here, and it still does the same thing but cleaner. We're basically changing the anchor point for each shape. And now see, the scaling happened much better. We can add one more value. We can just extrude the mesh, and now we're having even more control. So if we're having like, we can layer them, we can do a lot of stuff with it. Yeah, we also want to set material. And yeah, let's put this to gold. Okay, I want to make another blue one. Can duplicate the blue. Take the blue main. Can make it a little bit darker. Or yeah, we can change the roughness on it. So we're having different good contrast with the roughness. Yeah, change the pattern size. And yeah, you get the idea. Yeah, cool stuff. Like we can just yeah, have a group input and change everything to a value so we can change it outside. So first of all, we need our shape A, shape B. We can also have the scale in the center, and we can just change this from individual, the material. Let's change the naming. Shape A, shape B. We have the scale and the offset, and the material. Yeah, and I like to name this geometry node cutouts. Yep. Now we don't even need a geometry node anymore. We can just duplicate. Let's call this cutout one, and just add it to a new collection. We'll do RM, new collection, no object selected. Okay, yeah, because yeah, let's try this again. Collection, cutouts. Yep. And change this out to material view. Now we can just like duplicate any cutout. Let's change the scale, change the offset. Yeah, we forgot about one value, which is the extrude. Yep, call this we call this extrude. Let's change it to here. Yep, everything is clean and nice. Okay, we'll change the offset now. We can increase extrude, the scale. Yeah, a lot of cool possibilities you can do with this setup. Let's try one more. What do you think? We can just duplicate this one more time. Change shape 3, shape 4, and we have like all these different possibilities for us. Yep. Change. I think this shape is hidden because it doesn't sound right. Okay, let's put the scale to 1, which is the default. The offset to 0. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, can change it. But now, like, this scale doesn't have like any overlap, so it's gonna be just a whole scale, which is fine, maybe that's what you want, but we can still change the scale of it, the offset of it. I think offset will be irrelevant at this point. Yep, let's change it. And have fun with it. Let's have one more boolean with C1, C2, and change this to a gold one. This to, yeah, and you get the idea. You get the idea. Wait. I want to show you this shape also, because this where this geometry node gonna really shine. If we chose C6 and C5, and see it have a lot of good intersection. We can see like some cool shapes now, like scale. See, that means, yeah, it works. Change the scale, we change the offset, and you see some cool shapes we having. You can duplicate this again, increase extrusion, decrease the scale, change the material, just increase the scale again, and now we're having like these cool outlines. And yeah, I have another plane behind this. Let's duplicate its material and maybe change it to a red color. Yeah, but now I want to do like a simple boolean that taking this flower, so we're having like some negative shapes here. And yeah, we take our rayon node. We can do this. You can do this like in a lot of ways, but let's make it with geometry node again. And yep, we take new geometry node on this default cube. We geometry node. We take our background, which is like this blue plane here. Relative. Let's close the plane itself now. And we take one of our curves, which is, I think, gonna be C3. Yep. Let's check. Let's check. Oh, no, that's really cool. Okay, now what we can do is relative and instance. No, let's fill the curve again. It's basically same workflow. We extrude it, extrude mesh. Yeah, individual faces, change the extrusion, join them, and use a mesh boolean. Mesh boolean, and take this, put it here, not working. Maybe we need to change, just swap them. Nope. Okay, again. Okay, one problem is it's extruding, but we need to, like, if I show you the geometry, let's have geometry nodes here again. Okay. If I show you the geometry, it's not really intersecting with the plane. So what we need to do is to just use transform geometry, change it a little bit down, and look, now we're having like this cool negative space between them. And if we just duplicate one of our lights, put it inside, too much radius here. Okay, just really change the intensity of it. Now we're having, no, I don't like this shape. That doesn't work here. Okay. Maybe we can lose C1 and C2. Just take them out of here. And now, yeah, maybe just not take them out. What if we just change their scale so we can add them to the design somehow? Like this, for example. Take C3. Let's increase. C3 is our main one. Take C1. Just really increase the shape. Okay, what if we just go crazy on the curvature? Like make some really cool arabesque shape with it. and change like the numbers here. Like we're having like some cool, interesting shapes right now. We increase this. Okay. And we're gonna remove this and make it in its own collection. So curves, put this arabesque shape in a new collection, call it complex patterns. And why I did this, so we can do another outline. We just duplicate this and yeah, have the complex pattern one, and now we have like full control just on this. This back to our curves folder. Yeah, and change the scale of it, maybe go crazy. Yeah, just change also the thickness. Oh no, in the outline we can change the thickness again. That's not the outline. What's this? Oh yeah, this is a background. The new background. Let's call this new background. Yep, we're having our outline. Let's actually rename those OL, OL1, OL2. Yeah, call this OL0, whatever. Yep, we can change the thickness. No, that's the wrong one. Yep, this one. Make it really small. Maybe just 0.1 for both of them. 0.2. See. Yeah, now we're having like this cool complex shapes, and you can experiment with it. Really, you can have a lot of crazy shapes with it, and they are all connected to our C1. Yep. So let's try 6. Let's increase point counts. Yeah, like this one. Maybe change the curvature, which is our magical bottom for this effect. Yep. And scale. Whoa, this one is nice. This one is nice. Yep. So we have it. We have it. Okay, so what if we want to have this shape just inside? I prefer, instead of using geometry node with this one, we just take our complex shape we did, and then add just a normal boolean to it. We're having a new geonode, new, just a fill curve, and take our take our C3, I guess. Let's check. Yep. And yeah, where is the default cube? Now that's why you need to name stuff, guys. Okay. Having too many layers. Yeah, let's pin this. We're having C3. We put it here, here, extrude it. We join it, change transformation, a little bit lower, and then we can call this boolean shape, and take on the C1, take only the object info and to the group, so you can make a lot of boolean shapes with it in a new folder. Boolean shape. Yep. And then now we're back to our outline, And then we choose this boolean shape we did. Okay, not working yet for some reason. Let's check if it's intersecting. Yep, it is. Yeah, okay. So now instead of difference, I need union, no, intersection. You can choose, let's save first. Self-interpolation, hold tolerance. Yes, nothing yet. Okay. Yeah, that's because we need, I think, to realize instance for this. Because there's no instance, but let's check. And here we have it. Here we have it. Now we're having only this shape inside the flower. Of course, you can do it for the cutouts. You can do it for anything you need those outlines inside, which is like makes a lot of cool effects with it. We can disable the boolean for now, just like change this complex shape a little more. But the idea is like now we can solo all our curves and you have like an effect just in the area. We change some shapes, and even change the position of it. We change all those shapes, and go crazy with it. Scale, curvature. See, a lot of different possibilities for this. And now I'll add my text inside. Call this 2K because that's how much followers I got from my last reel. So yeah, my name is Omaro. I like Blender and geometry nodes and VFX, and I'll be doing a lot of teaching about that here. So if you like this content, definitely subscribe and mention me if you do any cool renders with this. And yeah, you can check my Gumroad out. You're gonna find a lot of my setup there. Yeah, and see you next time.